Listen to me closely. There is a word burning in the air right now, a word that refuses to let you scroll away, a word that reaches into your weariness, your aching bones, your tired mind, and declares with authority, God said, I will reverse your age. Not tomorrow, not after you are strong again, not when everything is perfect, now. This is not a poetic line meant to excite your emotions for a moment. This is a divine declaration meant to shake what you thought was permanent. You have been counting years, measuring yourself by calendars, mirrors, medical reports, and past mistakes. But God is not bound by numbers. God is not intimidated by time. God is not impressed by decay. What you call aging, God calls a season. What you call decline, God calls a pause before renewal. What you call the end of strength, God calls the doorway to a deeper strength that does not come from muscles alone, but from the breath of life that God placed within you. Some of you feel old, not because of your age, but because of what you have carried. You are tired in places sleep cannot reach. You smile, but your spirit feels worn. You move forward, but something inside you feels like it has been dragged through years of disappointment, betrayal, delay, and unanswered prayers. You say, I'm too old for this dream now. I'm too late. I missed my moment. But hear this clearly. God does not consult your past before releasing your future. God does not ask your permission to restore what time tried to steal. When God speaks of reversing age, God is not only talking about your body. God is talking about your spirit, your vision, your passion, your hope, your capacity to believe again without cynicism. God is saying, I will remove the weight of years that were never meant to define you. You see, time is a servant, not a master. Time answers to God. Every cell in your body, every breath in your lungs, every thought in your mind is on their divine command. You may feel like time has weakened you, but God says time has been preparing you. What looks like erosion has actually been excavation. God has been removing what was unnecessary so that what is eternal can stand. When God says, I will reverse your age, God is declaring that wisdom will remain, but weakness will leave, experience will stay, but heaviness will go, maturity will endure, but weariness will break. You will not go back to ignorance. You will go forward with renewed strength. There are people listening who feel like their best days are behind them. You remember when you had energy, when you dreamed freely, when your faith felt light and your heart felt alive. Life happened, responsibilities came, loss visited, pressure accumulated, and slowly, without realizing it, you started to age on the inside. Your prayers became shorter, your expectations smaller, your courage quieter. But God never aged with you. God never lost power. God never grew tired of you. God never stopped seeing you as capable, useful, chosen, and necessary. While you were adjusting to limitation, God was preparing restoration. Reversal does not mean denial of reality. It means interruption of what you thought was irreversible. God does not pretend you haven't been through pain. God does not ignore scars. God transforms them into testimony. The same God who renews the earth after harsh seasons knows how to renew you after hard years. Look at creation. Trees lose leaves, but their roots grow stronger. Rivers carved through stone not by force, but by persistence. Seasons change, yet life continues. If creation responds to God's design, how much more will you respond to God's word spoken over you? When God reverses your age, God is restoring your inner posture. You will stand differently. You will breathe differently. You will hope differently. You will no longer wake up already tired of the day. You will no longer live as if every opportunity has passed. God is reactivating spiritual youth within you. A youth that is not reckless, but resilient, not naive, but bold, not shallow, but deeply rooted. This kind of renewal does not shout, it sustains. It does not burn out, it burns steady. Many people misunderstand renewal because they think it means becoming someone else. But God does not erase you. God refines you. You are not being reset to zero. You are recalibrated to purpose. God is removing the rust of disappointment, the dust of delay, the heaviness of regret. You have been carrying memories that were never meant to aid you. You have been rehearsing failures that were never meant to define you. God is saying, release what drains you. I am breathing into you again. You must understand this. Aging is not only biological, it is psychological and spiritual. You can be young in years and old in faith, or advanced in years and young in spirit. God is targeting the places where you stopped expecting, stopped trusting, stopped believing that renewal was possible. God is touching the part of you that accepted survival instead of abundance. God is awakening the part you that still knows how to dream without apology. Some of you stopped taking care of your spirit because you assumed it was too late. You thought, what's the point now? But God never asks, what's the point? God asks, are you willing? Willing to believe again? Willing to speak life again? Willing to rise without bitterness? Willing to let go of the identity of being tired? You have been loyal to your exhaustion, faithful to your pain, committed to your past, but now God is calling you to be loyal to renewal. This reversal is not shallow motivation, it is alignment with divine order. God designed you to renew, not to rust. God designed you to grow, not to shrink. Even as the body changes, the spirit is meant to strengthen. Even as seasons shift, purpose remains intact. God is not finished with you, and age is not a limitation to God. It is merely a number humans use to explain what they do not understand. There is a reason you are hearing this now. God does not speak randomly. God speaks intentionally. This word is meeting you at the exact point where you are about to settle. You are about to say, this is just how it is now. You are about to lower your expectations, permanently. And God interrupted that thought with a declaration, I will reverse your age. Not to take you backward, but to move you forward unburdened. You will notice changes, not all at once, not in a dramatic flash, but steadily. Your appetite for life will return. Your patience will deepen. Your joy will feel cleaner, less forced. Your faith will feel less like effort and more like breathing. You will stop chasing youth and start embodying vitality. People will sense something different about you, not because you're trying to look young, but because you are carrying life. God is restoring your rhythm. You have been out of sync, pushing when you should have rested, resting when you should have moved, worrying when you should have trusted. Reversal brings harmony back. Your thoughts will slow down. Your heart will steady. Your reactions will soften. This is not weakness. This is strength under control. This is maturity without fatigue. Do not underestimate what God can do with a renewed you. Experience plus strength is dangerous to limitation. Wisdom plus energy is unstoppable. You are about to walk with clarity and endurance. You are about to speak with authority and compassion. You are about to serve without resentment. The years that taught you will now empower you. Some of you are afraid to believe this because disappointment trained you to expect less. You guarded your heart by lowering your hope. But hope was never your enemy. unmet expectations were. God is not asking you to force belief. God is inviting you to receive truth. Truth does not strain, it settles. When something is from God, it does not agitate your spirit, it aligns it. Reversal also means release. God cannot pour renewal into clenched hands. You must let go of comparisons. Stop measuring yourself against younger versions of others. Stop competing with timelines that were never assigned to you. Your journey is custom-made. Your pace is intentional. God is not late with you. God is precise. As this renewal unfolds, you will notice that some things no longer interest you. That is not loss, that is refinement. God is clearing space for what sustains you, not what drains you. You will become selective, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You will protect your peace because you finally understand its value. This reversal will also challenge how others see you. Some people are comfortable. Why? The tired version of you because it made them feel secure. When you rise renewed, when your eyes brighten, when your voice carries authority again, it will unsettle those who benefited from your exhaustion. Do not apologize for your restoration. God did not renew you to shrink you. You are not aging out of purpose. You are aging into power. There is a depth in you now that did not exist before. There is discernment in you now that cannot be taught. God is not removing your years, God is redeeming them. Nothing you lived was wasted. Even the hard years became fertilizer for strength. This word is not emotional hype, it is spiritual law. Renewal is built into divine design. What aligns with God's will renews, what resists it decays. As you align through trust, through surrender, through expectancy, you will experience restoration that does not fade quickly. This is not borrowed energy. This is internal renewal. You will laugh again without forcing it. You will rest without guilt. You will move without fear of breaking. You will plan without assuming failure. These are signs of reversal at work. God is removing the subconscious countdown you placed on yourself. You thought you were running out of time, but time has been waiting for you to rise. Even now, something is shifting in your awareness. A heaviness is loosening. A thought you carried for years is losing its authority. That is not coincidence, that is alignment. God's word does not return empty. It rearranges reality. Do not rush this process by trying to prove it. Let it unfold. Renewal that comes from God does know. You need validation. It speaks for itself through consistency, through peace, through sustained strength. You are becoming steady again, not rushed, not pressured, steady. You will begin to see your future with curiosity instead of dread. You will look ahead and think, maybe there is more. That thought alone is evidence of reversal. When despair leaves and possibility returns, renewal has begun. God is not giving you borrowed youth. God is restoring original design. You were created with the capacity to renew. You were designed to flourish, not just survive. And as this word settles deeper, as it reshapes your inner dialogue, as it corrects the lie that you are too old, too late, too worn, you will realize that God has been waiting for you to stop arguing with time and start agreeing with truth. The mirror no longer defines you. The calendar no longer intimidates you. The past no longer drains you. You are stepping into a season where strength feels natural again, where faith feels alive again, where hope is no longer a memory but a present reality, where your spirit rises before your body even catches up, where your words carry weight again, where your presence brings calm again, where you move not as someone trying to hold on, but as someone stepping forward with quiet authority, knowing that the same God who formed you is still actively renewing you, still adjusting what needs alignment, still restoring what was depleted, still breathing life into places that felt dormant, still proving that age is never a barrier when God is the source, and that what God renews does not slowly fade away, but continues to strengthen as you walk, as you trust, as you remain open to the work unfolding within you. Even now, as this word settles deeper and deeper into your awareness and begins reshaping the way you see yourself, your future, your strength, your capacity, your purpose, and the days ahead that are no longer counted with fear, but received with a quiet, steady confidence thought. Renewal is not coming someday, but is already in motion within you. There is another dimension to this reversal that many overlook, and it is the renewal of authority. When time presses on people, they often lose their sense of command over their own lives. They begin to ask permission from circumstances, from fear, from past failures. But when God reverses your age, God restores your authority. You no longer negotiate with doubt. You no longer shrink in the presence of challenges. You stand with quiet certainty, not because you feel powerful, but because you know who sustains you. Authority does not come from volume or aggression, it comes from alignment. And alignment with God recalibrates your posture toward life. You stop begging life to be kind to you and start moving with the confid. And that provision, clarity, and strength are already assigned to your path. God is also restoring your spiritual sensitivity. Time and hardship can dull perception. Repeated disappointment can numb discernment. People begin to tolerate what they once resisted and ignore what they once valued. But reversal sharpens awareness. You will sense what drains you faster. You will recognize what feeds why. Oh, deeper. You will hear guidance not as noise, but as clarity. This is not confusion lifting. This is wisdom returning to its rightful place. God is fine-tuning your inner compass so you no longer wander emotionally or spiritually. You will know when to move, when to wait, when to speak, and when to remain silent. This kind of knowing does not come from learning more, it comes from being renewed. Some of you have lived under the false belief that strength must be proven through struggle. You equated exhaustion with faithfulness. You thought rest was weakness and slowing down meant losing ground. But God is correcting that distortion. Reversal teaches you that sustainability is a sign of divine order. God never designed you to burn yourself out to prove loyalty. God designed you to move with rhythm. When age is reversed, strain leaves and flow returns. You will find yourself accomplishing more with less effort because you are no longer fighting yourself. Your energy will be focused, not scattered. Your actions will be intentional, not reactive. There is also healing happening in your memory. Memories age people faster than time. Unresolved moments replay, regrets echo, and the mind carries weight the body was never meant to hold. God is touching your memory, not erasing it, but cleansing it. The emotional charge is being removed. What once triggered pain will now produce insight. What once caused heaviness will now bring perspective. This is not emotional suppression, this is emotional redemption. God is teaching your mind how to remember without reliving. That alone restores. Years to the soul. You will notice a shift in how you relate to pressure. Pressure used to exhaust you, now it refines you. Pressure used to make you anxious, now it sharpens your focus. This is a sign of renewal. God is strengthening your inner framework so that external weight no longer collapses you. You become like a structure reinforced from within. Storms may hit, but stability remains. This, a kind of resilience, is not learned through comfort. It is formed through renewal that comes after endurance. Another mark of this reversal is the return of spiritual courage. Not loud bravery, but steady boldness. You will say what needs to be said without fear of rejection. You will make decisions without waiting for approval. You will trust God enough to move before everything makes sense. Fear ages people quickly. It steals sleep, stiffens joy, and limits vision. Courage restores youth to the spirit because it reopens the future. God is removing the internal narrative that says, be careful, you can't afford another loss. God is replacing it with truth that says, you are supported, you are guided, and you are not alone. You are also being released from the burden of self-blame. Many people age prematurely because they punish themselves for not knowing then what they know now. But wisdom is not retroactive, it is progressive. God does not judge you by knowledge you did not yet have. God judges by sincerity of heart and willingness to grow. When God reverses your age, God lifts the sentence you placed on yourself. You stop rehearsing self-accusations and start walking in self-respect. Respect for yourself is not pride, it is agreement with God's workmanship. This renewal will affect how you give and receive. You will no longer overextend to feel needed. You will no longer withhold out of fear of depletion. You will give from fullness, not from pressure. You will receive without guilt, understanding that provision is part of divine care. This balance restores vitality. Balance drains life. God is restoring equilibrium to your relationships, your responsibilities, and your expectations. Some of you will feel prompted to return to things you once loved, not to escape the present, but to reconnect with joy. Creativity may resurface. Curiosity may awaken. This is not nostalgia, this is renewal. God is reintroducing you to dimensions of yourself that were silenced. Why survival mode? Survival ages the soul. Purpose rejuvenates it. When you reconnect with purpose, energy follows naturally. You will also find that your prayers change. They will become less desperate and more assured, less about convincing God and more about aligning with truth. You will stop praying from panic and start praying from trust. Trust is youthful. It believes before it sees. God is restoring that simplicity. Not the simplicity of ignorance, but the simplicity of confidence. There is a deep correction happening in how you view time itself. You will stop racing it and stop resenting it. You will understand that time is not your enemy. Misalignment was. Now that alignment is returning, time becomes cooperative. Moments feel fuller. Days feel purposeful. You are no longer just seeing time. You are inhabiting it. This renewal will also refine your identity. You will no longer introduce yourself internally by what you lost or endured. You will recognize yourself as someone still becoming. Becoming is a youthful state. Stagnation is what ages people. God is keeping you in motion internally, even when externally things seem calm. Growth is happening quietly as this work continues. Do not be surprised if certain old patterns resist leaving. Renewal challenges habits that were formed in pain. But resistance does not mean failure. It means transformation is active. Stay receptive. Stay honest. Stay aligned. God is not rushing this because what God restores is meant to last. You are stepping into a phase where your presence alone carries weight. You will not need to PR. Of yourself, your calm will speak. Your clarity will influence. Your steadiness will reassure. This is not charisma. It is maturity infused with vitality. It is the kind of strength that does not seek attention but naturally commands respect. And understand this deeply. Reversal is not only for you. God renews individuals to affect environments. As you are restored, atmospheres change. Conversati. Ons shift. Possibilities open. You become evidence that renewal is possible beyond timelines and expectations, not as a spectacle, but as a living testimony of alignment. Even now, as this understanding settles, something is anchoring within you. Not excitement that fades, but resolve that endures. God is not giving you a temporary lift. God is establishing a new baseline. You are not returning T. Oh, who you were. You are stepping into who you were always meant to become, carrying wisdom without weight, strength without strain, faith without fear, moving forward with a spirit that has been renewed, recalibrated, and reawakened by the same God who declared that time does not have the final word over you and never did. There is a sacred recalibration taking place in how you interpret delay. At once felt like wasted years is being reframed as necessary preparation. God does not rush formation. Depth cannot be hurried, and endurance cannot be microwaved. You may have thought time was slipping away, but God was layering strength beneath the surface. When reversal comes, it does not deny the waiting, it redeems it. The waiting becomes wisdom. The silence becomes sensitivity. The pause back owns power. You are not emerging empty-handed, you are emerging equipped. God is also correcting the lie that says your value decreases with age. That lie did not come from truth. Value does not depreciate in divine design, it concentrates. What matures under God's guidance becomes more refined, more precise, more effective. You are not less relevant, you are more targeted. God is narrowing your F. Focus so your impact increases. You will stop trying to do everything and start doing what matters. Switching conserves energy and multiplies results. As renewal deepens, you will notice a shift in how you respond to mistakes. Instead of spiraling into shame, you will adjust with humility. Instead of condemning yourself, you will correct your course. Shame ages people. It curves the spine of the soul. But correction restores posture. God is teaching you to stand upright again, not pretending perfection, but walking in alignment. You will no longer define yourself by missteps. You will define yourself by movement forward. Another sign of reversal is emotional spaciousness. Where your inner world once felt crowded with worries, there will be room to breathe. Anxiety compresses time, PE. ACE expands it. God is expanding your internal capacity, so you are no longer overwhelmed by small disruptions. You will handle complexity without collapse. You will engage difficulty without losing yourself. This is maturity infused with vitality. God is also restoring your ability to receive guidance without resistance. Over time, people become rigid, convinced that change is risky, but renewal softens without weakening. You become teachable again. Not easily influenced, but deeply receptive. God speaks to hearts that are open, not defensive. This openness keeps the spirit young because it keeps growth continuous. There is a quiet restoration happening in your voice. Not just what you say, but how you say it. Your words will carry calm authority. You will no longer speak to fill space or prove worth. You will speak when it matters. Silence will no longer intimidate you. This restraint is not loss, it is strength refined. God is training your communication to reflect clarity rather than urgency. You are also being freed from the pressure to rush outcomes. Rushing is often fear, wearing the disguise of ambition. God's timing carries peace, even when it stretches patience. As renewal settles in, you will trust process again. Trust keeps the heart light. Distrust hardens it. God is returning you to a posture where expectation does not exhaust you. There will be moments when the old narrative tries to reassert itself. Thoughts may whisper, Be realistic. Don't hope too much. But realism without God becomes limitation. God is not calling you to denial. God is calling you to agreement with truth. Truth restores perspective. It reminds you that what is unseen is not inactive. Renewal often begins invisibly before it manifests tangibly. This reversal will also affect how you perceive others. You will. I'll become less reactive, less defensive, less triggered by differences. Reactivity drains life. Discernment preserves it. God is refining your emotional intelligence so you no longer waste energy on what does not require your attention. Peace becomes a priority, not a luxury. There is a renewed sense of stewardship emerging within you. Stewardship of time, of energy, of attention. You will protect your mornings, your rest, your inner dialogue. You will no longer treat yourself as expendable. This self-respect is not self-centered. It is alignment with divine intention. God never intended you to be careless with what was entrusted to you, including your own life force. As this process unfolds, you may find yourself releasing roles that no longer fit. That is not abandonment, that is evoluti. God shifts assignments as capacity deepens. You are not losing relevance. You are transitioning into greater effectiveness. What you carried before prepared you for what you will carry now. Your faith is also maturing into steadiness. Not loud declarations, but consistent trust. Not dramatic moments, but sustained alignment. This steadiness is youthful because it is free from performance. You no longer need to prove belief. You live it. God values consistency more than intensity. Consistency builds longevity. You will begin to recognize joy in ordinary moments again. Renewal restores appreciation. Appreciation slows time. When you notice beauty, time feels less aggressive. God is returning you to presence, the ability to be fully where you are without longing to escape. Presence is restorative. There is also a restoration of hope that does not demand immediate evidence. This kind of hope is resilient. It does not panic when answers delay. It does not collapse when plans shift. It remains anchored. Anchored hope stabilizes the soul and preserves strength over time. God is not merely reversing age. God is redefining progress. Progress is no longer measured by speed, but by alignment. You will move at the pace of peace. You will advance without strain. This is not stagnation. It is sustainable momentum. As you continue to walk in this renewal, remember that transformation does not require constant awareness. Sometimes the deepest work happens when you are simply living. Trust that what God has initiated is being completed. You are not responsible for the outcome. You are responsible for alignment. What emerges from this season will not be fragile. It will not be easily shaken. It will not depend on constant affirmation. You are being established. Established strength does not fade quickly. It deepens. And even now, as you breathe, as you listen, as you remain open, the reversal continues quietly, steadily, intentionally, reshaping how you move through your days, how you interpret your past, how you anticipate your future, anchoring you in a truth that does not age, that does not weaken, that does not retreat, but continues unfolding within you as God restores vitality, clarity, and purpose in a way that honors every season you have lived through and prepares you for what lies ahead without burden or fear. Only grounded confidence and sustained life. Third, E is a deeper awakening happening now. One that reaches beyond emotions and touches identity. God is restoring your sense of sacred worth. Over time, people internalize reduction. They begin to see themselves as less useful, less necessary, less capable. That silent erosion ages the soul faster than years ever could. but God is correcting your self-perception. You are not an afterthought in this Aeson. You are not a leftover. You are deliberately positioned. God never sustains what God does not intend to use. Your continued existence is evidence of ongoing purpose. You are also being delivered from the tyranny of urgency. Urgency drains life because it convinces you that everything is an emergency. God does not operate from panic. God operates from sovereignty. As renewal settles in, your decisions will be guided by clarity rather than pressure. You will no longer confuse haste with progress. Calm decision-making is a sign of inner youth because it reflects trust. When trust increases, strain decreases. God is recalibrating your relationship with effort. You have been trying to force outcomes that require alignment, not intensity. Effort without alignment exhausts. Alignment multiplies impact. As this reversal unfolds, you will notice that certain doors open without struggle, certain conversations shift without confrontation, certain solutions appear without exhaustion. This is not coincidence. This is divine order restoring flow. There is also a release from inherited fatigue. Some of you have been carrying generational patterns of struggle, unspoken rules that say, life must always be hard. Joy must be delayed. Rest must be earned through suffering. God is breaking those internal agreements. Renewal means you no longer inherit exhaustion as destiny. God is teaching you a new way to live, one where peace is permitted and rest is honored. You will experience a renewed confidence in stillness. Stillness used to make you anxious because you feared falling behind. Now, stillness becomes a source of strength. In stillness, clarity sharpens. In stillness, direction stabilizes. God speaks most clearly where noise has been reduced. This ability to be still without fear is a sign of internal youth. It reflects security. Another transformation is taking place in how you handle uncertainty. Uncertainty once made you tense. Now it makes you attentive. You will no longer demand full visibility before moving. You will trust guidance step by step. This flexible trust preserves vitality. Rigidity ages the soul. God is keeping you adaptable without making you unstable. You are also being restored in how you experience gratitude. Gratitude is not politeness, it is alignment with abundance. Complaining ages the spirit because it focuses attention on lack. Gratitude renews because it recognizes provision already present. God is tuning your awareness so you see what is working, not only what is missing. This shift alone lightens the heart. As this renewal deepens, you will find that your faith no longer swings wildly between extremes. It will not be inflated by good days or crushed by hard ones. It will become anchored. Anchored faith conserve energy. Emotional volatility drains it. God is stabilizing your inner world so external circumstances no longer dictate your internal state. There is also a renewal of moral courage. You will choose what is right even when it is inconvenient. Integrity keeps the conscience light. Compromise creates internal friction that ages the soul. God is restoring alignment between your values and your actions, and alignment always brings strength. You may also notice that your compassion becomes cleaner. You will care deeply without carrying burdens that are not yours. You will help without rescuing. You will listen without absorbing. This healthy compassion preserves life. God is teaching you boundaries that do not harden you but protect you. Another mark of reversal is the return of expectancy without entitlement. You will anticipate good without demanding control. Entitlement ages because it breeds frustration. Expectancy renews because use it stays open. God is teaching you to hope without gripping outcomes tightly. You are being restored in how you view correction. Correction will no longer feel like attack. It will feel like guidance. Humility keeps the spirit young because it keeps learning active. Pride freezes growth. God is keeping you responsive, not defensive. There is also a restoration of patience that does not feel passive. This patience is active trust. It allows growth to mature naturally. Forced fruit spoils quickly. God-grown fruit sustains. You are learning to wait without weakening. As this work continues, your internal dialogue is changing. The voice that once criticized is losing volume. The voice of wisdom is gaining clarity. God is replacing internal harshness with internal truth. Truth stabilizes. Condemnation corrodes. You will also find yourself less attached to proving anything to anyone. Performance ages people because it keeps them tense. Authenticity renews because it allows rest. God is freeing you from comparison and returning you to calling. This season is also restoring your ability to celebrate others without insecurity. Insecurity drains vitality. Confidence restores it. God is anchoring your identity so deeply that another person's success no longer threatens your peace. Even your relationship with endings is changing. Endings no longer feel like loss alone, they feel like transition. God teaches closure without bitterness. Bitterness ages, acceptance renews. You are not merely surviving this season, you are being recalibrated for longevity. Longevity is not about age, how long you live, but how well you remain aligned. God is sustaining your inner life so your outer life can continue with strength. What is unfolding now is subtle but irreversible. It does not rely on mood. It does not fade with circumstances. It is rooted. God is establishing something within you that carries forward quietly, steadily, confidently, reshaping how you walk, how you respond, how you endure, and how you hope, ensuring that renewal is not a moment you visit, but a state you inhabit, a rhythm you live in, a strength that accompanies you as you continue forward under the steady care, guidance, and sustaining power of God alone. There are seasons when God allows delay, not because He has forgotten you, but because He is preparing a return that cannot be measured by human logic. You thought the waiting meant denial. You assumed the silence meant absence. But God never wastes obedience, and He never ignores faith that refuses to quit. Every tear you shed in private was recorded. Every time you chose integrity when compromise would have been easier, God took note. Every time you trusted Him while everything around you contradicted your faith, heaven marked your name. Overcompensation is not random. It is God's response to sustained faith under pressure. Many people misunderstand God's timing because they measure Him with human clocks. God does not rush, and He does not delay. He arrives at the moment that maximizes impact. When God overcompensates, He does it in such a way that the very people who doubted you will be forced to acknowledge that only God could have done this. He will not merely return what was taken, He will add interest to your endurance. He will not only heal what was broken, He will strengthen you beyond what you were before the damage. He will not simply open a door, He will open doors you were not even qualified to knock on. You must understand this deeply. God is not fair in the human sense. He is just, and His justice includes generosity. Fairness gives everyone the same thing. God gives according to purpose, obedience, and endurance. That is why some people rise suddenly after long obscurity. That is why some breakthroughs come all at once after years of struggle. That is why God allows the pressure to build, because when release comes, it will be explosive. Overcompensation is God's way of saying, I saw everything and I am responding in full. You were not rejected, you were redirected, you were not delayed, you were being positioned, you were not overlooked. God was hiding you from environments that could not sustain the height of your destiny. If God had answered you earlier, you would have received less. If God had moved faster, you would have settled smaller. But God refused to give you a partial victory. He waited until your character could carry the blessing without collapsing under its weight. Now the season is shifting, and what is coming will not resemble what you lost. There are moments when God allows subtraction so that multiplication can follow. You lost people, opportunities, comfort and clarity, but what you lost was necessary to make room for what is coming. God will not pour abundance into a crowded heart. He clears, He purifies, He stretches. Overcompensation requires capacity. That is why the pain felt unbearable. God was expanding your ability to receive. You thought the pressure was meant to destroy you, but it was shaping you into someone who could steward overflow. Hear this clearly. God is not responding to your noise. He is responding to your faith. You did not need to convince Him of your pain. He already knew. You did not need to explain your struggle. He watched it unfold. What moved God was your decision to stay faithful when you could have walked away. Heaven responds to perseverance. Heaven honors consistency. Heaven releases overcompensation to those who refuse to let go of God, even when everything else lets go of them. There are blessings that arrive quietly, and there are blessings that arrive loudly. Overcompensation is loud. It changes your environment. It shifts your reputation. It alters your future in one decisive season. When God overcompensates, you will look back and realize that every closed door was protection. Every delay was preparation. And every disappointment was a setup for something greater. God is not just restoring what you lost. He is giving you what you never imagined. Some of you have been faithful in places that never celebrated you. You gave your best where you received the least. You sowed love where you were misunderstood. You served with excellence while being underappreciated. And God says, I am about to repay you in a way that no human system could. The reward will not come from the same place where the pain originated. God will bless you through channels you did not expect, using people you never planned on in ways you could not have orchestrated. Do not misinterpret the struggle as punishment. God does not punish those He has chosen for expansion. Pressure is not rejection. Pressure is evidence that something valuable is being formed. Gold is not destroyed by fire, it is revealed. And what God is about to release in your life will prove that the fire refined you rather than consumed you. Overcompensation is God's declaration that the trial did not defeat you, it qualified you. There are those listening who feel like time has been stolen from them. Years passed while you waited. Energy drained while you hoped. Opportunities seemed to slip away while you remained faithful. But God is not limited by time. What He does in one moment can redeem years of delay. When God overcompensates, He compresses seasons. He accelerates outcomes. He restores momentum. What you thought would take decades will unfold in a fraction of the time, because God knows how to restore without repeating the pain. God is not about to give you what you prayed for. He is about to give you more than you dared to expect. Your prayers were sincere, but your imagination was limited. God always exceeds what the human mind can calculate. Overcompensation is not logical, it is divine. It does not come because conditions are favorable. It comes because God has decided that the season of repayment has arrived. You must guard your heart in this season because blessings expose as much as trials do. When God overcompensates, people will come closer. Opinions will shift. Attention will increase. And God is watching not just how you receive, but how you remain. Stay humble. Stay grateful. Stay anchored in the one who lifted you. Overcompensation is not a reward for pride. It is entrusted to those who understand that everything they have flows from God alone. Do not talk yourself out of what God is preparing by rehearsing past disappointments. Your history does not disqualify your future. God does not consult your failures before He blesses you. He consults His purpose, and His purpose for your life did not expire because of your mistakes, your delays, or your doubts. Overcompensation means God is about to rewrite the narrative. What people used to mock will become the very evidence of divine favor. There are doors opening that no apology could unlock. There are breakthroughs coming that no effort could force. There are connections forming that no strategy could design. This is not coincidence, it is orchestration. God is aligning circumstances to bless you in a way that cannot be reversed. When overcompensation begins, resistance loses its authority. What once blocked you will now propel you forward. You may feel unprepared for what is coming, but God never releases what He has not already prepared you to carry. The stretching you endured was not in vain. The lessons you learned in obscurity were necessary. The discipline you developed in lack will protect you in abundance. God does not overcompensate carelessly. He releases blessing with precision, timing, and intention. Let go of the mindset that says, I missed my chance. God does not operate on missed opportunities. He creates new ones. Your best days are not behind you, they are ahead of you. Overcompensation is not about returning to what WA. It is about stepping into what was always meant to be. God is not restoring you to a previous version of yourself. He is elevating you into a greater one. Some of you are about to receive answers to prayers you stopped praying because the waiting became too painful. God never stopped listening. Heaven never closed its record. The delay was not denial, it was development. Overcompensation means OD waited until the blessing would no longer break you, but bless others through you. What you receive will not end with you. God blesses you so that your life becomes evidence of His faithfulness. Stay alert in this season. Do not underestimate small beginnings. Overcompensation often starts quietly before it becomes undeniable. A conversation, an opportunity, an idea, a door that opens unexpected. These are not random events. They are signals. God is initiating a sequence. Say yes when fear tells you to hesitate. Move forward when comfort tells you to stay still. Obedience activates acceleration. There is a joy coming that will surprise you, a peace that will replace the anxiety you carried for so long, a confidence that will rise not from pride, but from knowing that God has proven high. Himself faithful yet again. Overcompensation restores not only what you lost externally, but what was damaged internally. God heals memories. He renews vision. He restores hope. Do not compare your journey to others. Comparison blinds you to what God is doing uniquely in your life. Your path required a different process because your calling carries a different weight. Overcompensation is custom-made. What God releases to you will fit you perfectly because He designed it specifically for your assignment. You are entering a season where effort will meet favor, where obedience will meet opportunity, where faith will meet fulfillment. God is not finished with your story. He is intensifying it. What comes next will validate every silent prayer, every lonely night, every moment you chose trusto and despair. Remain expectant, but remain grounded. Anticipation attracts blessing, but humility sustains it. Speak life. Align your words with what God is doing, not with what you fear. Do not declare endings when God is initiating beginnings. Overcompensation responds to faith-filled expectation. You will soon realize that what you thought was loss was actually investment. Every sacrifice you am, God is about to yield a return beyond calculation. God does not forget those who honor Him. He does not ignore those who remain faithful when no one is watching. Overcompensation is God's public acknowledgement of private obedience. The weight is lifting. The confusion is clearing. The season is turning. What you are about to experience will not make sense to those who did not walk with you through the valley. And that is okay. This blessing was not for their approval. It was for your assignment. Trust God completely now. Not partially, not cautiously, completely. Let go of control and allow Him to exceed your expectations. You have survived the process. You endured the pressure. You remain faithful. Now get ready. Not because you earned it, but because God decided it was time. There is a spiritual law at work that many fail to recognize. God allows intensity before increase. When the pressure multiplies, it is not because God is withdrawing. It is because He is concentrating His work. You were not breaking down. You were being compressed so that greater strength could emerge. God never enlarges territory without first deepening roots. What felt like restriction was actually reinforcement. What felt like isolation was alignment. God was removing distractions so that when overcompensation arrives, you would recognize the source and remain anchored in Him alone. Understand this. God does not compensate based on what was visible. He compensates based on what was endured in secret. The silent battles you fought, the private discipline you maintained, the moments you chose faith over bitterness. These are the currencies of heaven. God does not reward performance. He honors perseverance. And perseverance under pressure attracts a response that is disproportionate to the struggle. Overcompensation is God's declaration that the unseen faith mattered more than the visible outcome. There are those who assumed your silence meant surrender. They thought your stillness was weakness. But God was teaching you restraint, not retreat. He was training you to move with wisdom, not impulse. Overcompensation requires maturity because sudden increase without wisdom destroys what it touches. God withheld not because you were unworthy, but because you were still becoming. Now you are entering a season where what once overwhelmed you will no longer intimidate you because God has fortified your inner life. Do not confuse ease with favor. God's greatest blessings often arrive wrapped in responsibility. Overcompensation brings expansion, and expansion demands stewardship. God is not merely giving you things, He is entrusting you with influence, reach, and authority. What you manage next will determine how long it remains. That is why God refined your character before releasing. NG Resources. He ensured that what you receive will not replace Him in your heart. There is a divine balance God maintains between promise and preparation. If the promise arrives before the preparation is complete, the blessing becomes a burden. God waited until your heart could remain steady in abundance, the same way it remained faithful in lack. Overcompensation will not change who you are. It doubles you. It'll reveal who you have become. And God already knows the result. Some seasons require endurance. Others require courage. You are now entering a season that requires bold obedience. God is about to open opportunities that will stretch your comfort zone. The same God who sustained you in the valley will require you to trust Him on the mountain. Do not hesitate when God signals movement. Delay after. Divine instruction is disobedience disguised as caution. Overcompensation flows where obedience is immediate. God is about to replace exhaustion with energy, confusion with clarity, and heaviness with joy. But this will not happen through external change alone. It will begin internally. God renews perspective before He alters circumstances. That is why you are sensing renewed hope without visible evidence yet. Faith always rises before manifestation. Overcompensation is already in motion, even if the environment has not caught up. There is a reason God allowed you to experience disappointment without explanation. He was teaching you to trust His nature, not His timing. Faith that depends on understanding is fragile. Faith that rests in who God is remains unshaken. Now that your trust is no longer conditional, God can release what He withheld. Overcompensation follows unconditional faith. Let go of the belief that suffering means absence. God often does His deepest work in silence. Seeds grow in darkness, not light. What you thought was a buried season was actually a planted one. Overcompensation is harvest language, and harvest never looks like the seed. It multiplies it. I feel behind according to human timelines, but you are perfectly aligned with divine purpose. God never rushes destiny. What is delayed is not denied, it is refined. When God overcompensates, He does not restore you to the pace you lost, He accelerates you beyond it. Momentum is returning, focus is sharpening, direction is clarifying. Guard your mouth in this season. Do not curse what God is called. Ivating. Words either prepare the ground or poison it. Speak alignment, not anxiety. Declare trust, not fear. God responds to faith-filled language because it reflects reliance on Him rather than on circumstances. Overcompensation is activated by expectation rooted in trust. There will be moments when you feel undeserving of what is coming. That humility is healthy, but do not let it turn into disbelief. God does not bless you because you are perfect. He blesses you because He is faithful. Receive without guilt, steward without pride. Gratitude sustains what achievement cannot. Do not rush the process now. Acceleration does not mean chaos. God moves swiftly, but He moves with order. Stay attentive, stay discerning. Not every opportunity is an assignment. Overcompensation does not mean excess without direction. It means abundance with purpose. God will guide you step by step if you remain sensitive to His leading. The version of you that survived lack will protect you in abundance. The discipline learned in waiting will guide you in receiving. God did not allow you to struggle just to bless you. He allowed you to struggle so that you could bless others wisely. What flows through you next will carry impact far beyond your own life. Do not seek validation from those who did not understand your process. God's approval outweighs human recognition. When overcompensation manifests, some will question it, others will envy it, and some will celebrate it. Your responsibility is not to explain it, it is to honor God through it. Expect restoration in areas you stopped believing for. Go. D restores vision, confidence, and purpose just as powerfully as material things. Overcompensation reaches into emotional, mental, and spiritual spaces. God heals what success alone cannot. He rebuilds what time could not fix. Stay available, stay teachable, stay obedient. God elevates those who remain yielded. Overcompensation is not the end of dependence. It is the expansion of it. The more God entrusts to you, the deeper your reliance on Him must become. You are stepping into a season where faith becomes visible. What you believe privately will manifest publicly. God is about to answer questions you were too tired to ask anymore. The weight shaped you, the silence strengthened you, the struggle refined you. Do not settle now. Do not retreat now. Do not doubt now. God is not preparing you for survival. He is preparing you for overflow. What you carry next will require confidence anchored in Him. Stand firm. Stay aligned. The season of overcompensation is unfolding, and what God has begun will not be interrupted. There is a moment in every divine journey when God shifts you from endurance to expectation. You are no longer merely surviving. You are being summoned to believe again. Faith is not passive waiting, it is active alignment. God is calling you to raise your inner standard to match what He is about to release. Small thinking cannot carry large blessing. Narrow vision cannot steward expansive favor. Overcompensation requires a renewed mind, one that agrees with God's ability rather than rehearsing past limitations. You must understand that God is not intimidated by your history. He's not restricted by patterns that once defined you. What people label as cycles, God sees as seasons, and seasons change by divine command. The very areas where you experience repeated loss are now becoming channels of repeated gain. God specializes in reversing patterns that seem permanent. Overcompensation is God interrupting a cycle and declaring, this ends here and something greater begins now. There are times when God delays breakthrough because He is protecting you from premature exposure. Visibility without covering can be dangerous. Influence without grounding can distort purpose. That is why God trained you in humility when you wanted recognition. He taught you faithfulness when you wanted applause. Now that your identity is rooted in Him rather than outcomes, He can trust you with expansion. Overcompensation flows safely through those who know where their strength comes from. Do not underestimate the power of obedience in small things. God often hides massive reward inside seemingly ordinary faithfulness. You did not see the impact of your consistency because God was building something beneath the surface. Foundations are invisible, but they determine stability. Now the saying, rupture is rising, and what God builds will not collapse under pressure. Overcompensation rests on what is firmly established, not what is hastily assembled. There is also a warning in this season. Do not cling to the familiar when God is calling you into the unfamiliar. Comfort zones are often disguised limitations. God does not overcompensate to keep you small. He does it to expand your reach. Why? All may feel tension between who you have been and who you are becoming. That tension is not confusion, it is transition. Trust God enough to move forward without needing every detail explained. God is not responding to desperation, He is responding to trust. Desperation says, I need this to survive. Trust says, God is enough even if nothing changes. When God sees trust that is no longer transactional, He releases blessing that is no longer minimal. Overcompensation is not manipulation, it is covenant response. God honors hearts that rely on Him rather than outcomes. Some of you are about to experience restoration in relationships, credibility, and standing. God is able to vindicate without you defending yourself. Silence was your training grow. Restraint was your shield. Now God will speak through results. When God overcompensates, explanation becomes unnecessary. Evidence speaks louder than argument. Let God handle what only He can correct. You may notice that your tolerance for disorder is decreasing. What once felt acceptable now feels heavy. That is because God is sharpening your discernment. Overcompensation demands clarity. G-O-D is aligning your preferences with your purpose. Pay attention to what no longer fits. It is a signal that you are outgrowing a former version of your life. Do not rush to announce what God is doing prematurely. Some things are protected by silence. God does His deepest work in environments free from interference. Let results speak when the time is right. Overcompensation does not need advertise. It reveals itself naturally. God is also strengthening your capacity to receive without fear. Fear of loss, fear of change, fear of responsibility, these are being replaced with trust. God does not bless you to keep you anxious. He blesses you to establish peace. Overcompensation comes with rest, not restlessness. When blessing comes from God, it carries stability rather than strain. You are entering a season where preparation meets opportunity. What you studied quietly, practiced consistently, and learned through trial will now find expression. Nothing was wasted. Even your mistakes became instructors. God redeems experience. Overcompensation means your past will serve your future instead of haunting it. Be mindful of alignment. Not everyone who comes with opportunity comes with ask. Alignment. Discernment will protect what God gives. God may bless you quickly, but He will also guide you carefully. Stay close, stay prayerful, stay attentive. Overcompensation thrives in intimacy with God. There will be moments when you feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of what is unfolding. When that happens, remember who initiated it. God never begins what He cannot sustain. He does not elevate to abandon. He does not bless to withdraw. The same God who carried you through the valley will stabilize you on higher ground. You will soon realize that the waiting season did not weaken you. It trained you to listen. Sensitivity to God's direction is one of the greatest assets you carry into this next chapter. Overcompensation will require wisdom more than effort. Let God lead rather than pushing ahead on your own strength. Celebrate progress without becoming complacent. Gratitude keeps your heart open. Arrogance closes. God resists pride, but releases abundance to the humble. Remain teachable even as doors open. Remain grounded even as influence grows. Overcompensation is sustained by humility. What God is releasing will not only change your circumstances, it will shift your confidence. You will walk with a quiet assurance that does not need validation. When God establishes you, insecurity loses its voice. You will know that what you carry was given, not taken, and therefore cannot be easily shaken. Trust God with the pace. Some blessings unfold instantly, others unfold strategically. Overcompensation is not always sudden, it is complete. God finishes what He starts. He does not leave restoration half done. He restores fully, deeply, and wisely. Remain faithful in honor. Honor God in your decisions, nor others in your success. Honor the process that shaped you. Overcompensation is not a finish line. It is a new level of responsibility. Walk into it with reverence. The season of questioning is ending. The season of confirmation is beginning. What you believed by faith is about to be affirmed by reality. Stay ready, stay aligned, stay surrendered. God is faithful, and what He has prepared will unfold at the appointed time with precision, purpose, and power. There comes a sacred shift when God stops teaching you how to endure and starts teaching you how to receive. Receiving is not passive. It requires alignment of belief, identity, and obedience. Many can survive hardship, but few are prepared for abundance. God had to remove the mindset of scarcity before releasing overflow. That is W. How you felt stretched internally before anything changed externally. Overcompensation demands that you see yourself the way God sees you, not the way circumstances trained you to see yourself. God is recalibrating your identity. You are no longer defined by what you lacked, what you lost, or what delayed you. You are being reintroduced to yourself through God's perspective. When God elevates, He also clarifies. Confusion lifts because direction becomes sharper. Doubt weakens because purpose becomes clearer. Overcompensation is not chaotic, it is intentional. God knows exactly where He is taking you, and He is aligning your steps with precision. There are times when God withholds answers because He is developing trust beyond explanation. You ask why, but God was building who you are becoming mattered more than the information you wanted. Now that your trust is anchored, God can entrust you with insight, access, and responsibility. Overcompensation follows surrendered understanding. Pay attention to how your appetite is changing. What once satisfied you no longer does. That is not ingratitude, it is growth. God expands desire before He fulfills it. Expansion of desire is P. Reparation for expansion of territory. Overcompensation begins with holy dissatisfaction, not discontent, but hunger for alignment with God's will. God is also restoring your authority. Authority that was weakened by disappointment is being rebuilt through truth. You are learning again how to speak with conviction, how to stand without fear, how to move without hesitation. Overcompensation restore. Confidence without arrogance. You will know your place, and you will not need to compete for it. You are stepping into a season where God will ask you to trust Him with consistency rather than crisis. Faith during crisis is loud. Faith during stability is quiet. Overcompensation requires mature faith, the kind that does not panic when everything is calm and does not rush when things are progress. Steadily. God is teaching you to walk, not run into what He has prepared. There is also a refinement happening in your discernment. You will sense when to speak and when to remain silent, when to act and when to wait. Overcompensation does not mean impulsive movement. It means timely obedience. God moves in moments, and those moments require sensitivity. Stay alert to divine prompting. God shifting how you measure success. Success is no longer survival. It is alignment. It is not accumulation. It is stewardship. Overcompensation will not make you restless. It will make you purposeful. You will move with clarity instead of urgency, with peace instead of pressure. Some blessings are delayed because they require partnership. God prepares people, resources, and timing simultaneously. One element is missing. The blessing is incomplete. Now alignment is taking place. What belongs together is being drawn together. What no longer fits is being removed without struggle. Overcompensation often comes with separation, not as loss, but as clarity. You may feel a strong pull to simplify. God often simplifies before He multiplies. Distraction is the enemy of expansion. God is helping why? We focus so that when increase comes, it does not overwhelm you. Overcompensation does not complicate life, it orders it. There will be moments when you are tempted to revisit old fears. Do not negotiate with them. Fear is familiar, but it is no longer authoritative. God did not bring you this far to leave you unstable. Overcompensation replaces fear with assurance. Assurance grounded in God's consistency, not your performance. God is also healing your relationship with expectation. You no longer expect disappointment as a default. You are learning to expect good without anxiety. That shift alone signals readiness. Overcompensation flows where expectation is hopeful, not defensive. Remember this, God does not overcompensate to prove something to others. He does it to fulfill purpose. What He places in your hands will align with assignment. You will recognize it not by excitement alone, but by peace that confirms alignment. Stay grounded in gratitude. Gratitude keeps your heart open and your vision clear. It reminds you that everything flows from God. Overcompensation sustained by gratitude becomes legacy rather than excess. You are entering a season where God's faithfulness will become personal in new ways. Not theoretical, not historical, present and undeniable. What you lived through prepared you for what you are about to live in. Do not fear the size of what God is releasing. He measured you before He measured the blessing. He knows what you can carry. He knows what you can manage. He knows what will glorify Him through your life. Stay surrendered, stay responsive, stay aligned. God is intentional. And nothing in this season is accidental. What unfolds next will affirm that the waiting was purposeful, the refining was necessary, and the outcome will be worth more than you imagined. Now stand still in your spirit and let this truth settle deeply within you. God has never been uncertain about your future. What felt unstable was only the process, not the plan. God does not improvise destiny, He executes it. Every delay carried intention, every struggle carried instruction, every season of lack carried a blueprint for increase. Overcompensation is not God changing His mind, it is God revealing what was already decided. You are not stepping into randomness, you are stepping into fulfillment. The same God who sustained you when resources were low will keep you grounded when abundance arrives. The same God who taught you patience in waiting will teach you wisdom in receiving. Nothing about your journey has been accidental. Every closed door redirected you. Every setback refined you. Every unanswered prayer protected you. God was never absent. He was arranging. Let your heart be settled now. Anxiety has no authority where trust has matured. Fear cannot dominate where faith has been proven. You do not need to chase what God has already assigned. What belongs to you will recognize you. What is meant for you will align with you. Overcompensation does not arrive through striving. It arrives through surrender. Walk forward without apology. Receive without guilt. Advance without hesitation. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are exactly where God intended you to be for what He is about to release. The weight is lifting because the lesson is complete. The resistance is breaking because the season is shifting. Remain anchored in God. Alone. Do not allow success to distract you from dependence. Do not allow favor to replace reverence. The same humility that carried you through the valley will sustain you on higher ground. God is not only blessing your hands, He is securing your heart. What unfolds next will confirm everything you trusted without evidence. Faith will turn into testimony. Waiting will turn into wonder. Loss will turn into language of praise. God is faithful beyond measure, precise beyond understanding, and generous beyond expectation. Stay ready, stay obedient, stay aligned. God is about to reveal the fullness of what He prepared while you were becoming. God told me to warn you. And when God tells you to warn someone, it is never because something ordinary is approaching. You are going to need to sit down, not because you are weak, but because what is coming is weighty. It is heavy with purpose. It is big enough to shift your posture, big enough to rearrange your expectations, big enough to silence your doubts, and big enough to interrupt your routine. Some of you felt a stirring in your spirit the moment you heard these words, because deep down you already knew that the season you are in cannot hold what God is about to release. There are moments in life when God does not whisper, He shakes. He does not nudge, He confronts. He does not gently suggest, He commands. And when God commands, it is not up for debate, negotiation, or delay. You have been walking through days that felt ordinary. But God says they were not ordinary, they were loaded. Every delay, every closed door, every unanswered prayer was building pressure. And pressure is never wasted in the hands of God. Pressure produces capacity. Pressure stretches you. Pressure prepares you to carry what would have crushed you before. That is why God told me to warn you, because what is coming would have overwhelmed the old version of you. Some of you are confused because the struggle has been intense. You thought obedience would make things easier, but instead, it made things heavier. You stayed faithful and still face resistance. You prayed harder and the silence grew louder. You gave more and felt like you had less. But hear this truth and let it settle deep inside you. God never prepares you for something small with a heavy process. God never uses intense refining for a minor outcome. If the fire has been hot, the blessing is weighty. If the pruning has been painful, the fruit will be abundant. If the NG has been long, the manifestation will be undeniable. God says, you are about to understand why you could not rush this season. You are about to see why certain people had to walk away, why certain opportunities had to collapse, why certain plans had to fail. If they had stayed, they would have limited what God is about to do. If it had worked, you would have settled for less than what heaven had planned. God is not reacting to your situation. God authored it. He is not surprised by your tears. He counted them. He is not intimidated by your questions. He shaped them into faith. You thought you were losing time, but God says you were gaining depth. Sit down, because what is coming is not something you can receive while rushing. It requires stillness. It requires awareness. It requires humility. When God releases something big, it often comes quietly at first, but its impact echoes loudly. It may not announce itself with noise, but it announces itself with change. Suddenly, doors open that have been sealed for years. Suddenly, favor replaces frustration. Suddenly, clarity overtakes confusion. And you will realize that God was not ignoring you. He was aligning you. There is a difference between asking God for something and being prepared to steward it. Many people want the blessing, but few are ready for the responsibility that comes with it. God says, you are not just about to receive, you are about to be trusted. That is why the process refines your character, not just your skills. That is why God dealt with your pride, your fear, your impatience, and your need for approval. What is coming requires integrity. What is coming requires wisdom. What is coming requires discernment. And God would rather delay the promise than destroy you with it. Some of you have been feeling an unusual heaviness in your spirit. Not depression, not fear, but a sense that something is about to break open. You could not explain it, but you felt restless. You felt like you were standing on the edge of something unseen. That is because the atmosphere around you has been shifting. God has been rearranging circumstances behind the scenes. Conversations you did not hear were happening. Decisions you did not make were being influenced. Paths you did not choose were being cleared. God has been working in silence, and silence does not mean absence. Silence often means precision. God told me to warn you, because when this unfolds, you will be tempted to question whether you deserve it. You will look at the magnitude of it and think of your flaws. You will remember your mistakes. You will replay your failures. But God says this is not about your perfection. It is about His purpose. If it were based on your performance, you would have disqualified yourself long ago. But God chose you because you were willing, because you were teachable, because you did not quit when it hurt. Grace did not erase the process. It empowered you to survive it. What is coming will not just change your situation, it will change your influence. God is about to expand your reach. People will listen to you differently. Your words will carry weight. Your presence will bring peace. Your testimony will unlock hope in others. And this is why the enemy fought you so hard in private. He knew that if you survived the hidden battles, you would be unstoppable in the open. He knew that if you overcame discouragement, you would carry encouragement. He knew that if you conquered fear, you would release courage. Sit down, because you are about to see God move in ways that make your past prayers look small. Some of the things you asked for were just shadows of what God actually intended to give you. You prayed for relief. God prepared restoration. You asked for provision. God arranged overflow. You asked for direction. God prepared transformation. And when it happens, it will not be because you finally figured it out. It will be because God decided the timing was right. Do not misunderstand this moment. This is not a message to inflate your ego. It is a call to deepen your reverence. When God does something big, humility must grow with it. Gratitude must grow with it. Obedience must grow with it. The higher God lifts you, the deeper your roots must go. That is why God allowed you to be misunderstood, overlooked, and underestimated. He was teaching you to stand without applause, to trust without validation, to serve without recognition. Some of you are still holding on to disappointment, and God says you cannot carry that into what is next. Not because your pain is invalid, but because it no longer fits. The old wounds were real, but they are not your identity. The rejection hurt, but it did not define you. The failure stung, but it did not finish you. God says release it, not be careful. Use it did not matter, but because something bigger matters more. You cannot hold on to ashes when God is handing you oil. God told me to warn you because when this happens, it will require movement. You will have to respond. You will have to step out. You will have to say yes when fear tells you to stay still. Faith is not passive, it is responsive. When God opens the door, hesitation can become disobedience. When God calls your name, silence can become resistance. You have been praying for confirmation, and God says, this is it. The stirring you feel is not confusion, it is invitation. There will be people who do not understand what God is doing in your life. They will question the speed of it. They will doubt the authenticity of it. They will compare it to your past and say it does not make sense. But God says they do not need to understand it to be affected by it. Your assignment is not to convince them, it is to obey God. When God elevates you, He also isolates you at times, not as punishment, but as protection. This is not just about material blessing or external success. This is about alignment. This is about destiny. This is about stepping into what was written long before. You were aware of it. God does not improvise, He fulfills. Every step you took, even the wrong ones, were woven into a greater design. God wastes nothing. He redeems time. He restores years. He turns loss into leverage. Sit down, because the next season will move fast. Things will happen quickly. Opportunities will present themselves suddenly. Answers will come rapidly. And if you are not grounded, you may feel overwhelmed. That is why God is speaking now before it happens, so you recognize His hand when it does. So you do not attribute it to luck. So you do not minimize it. So you do not mishandle it. You are not about to receive this because you begged enough or worked hard enough. You are about to receive it because God is faithful to His word. He promised and He performs. He spoke and He fulfills. He declared and He delivers. And when God moves, it is not partial, it is complete. It is not temporary, it is lasting. It is not fragile, it is firm. Some of you will look back at this moment and realize this was the warning before the wave. This was the pause before the acceleration. This was the breath before the breakthrough. God does not always announce what He is about to do. But when He does, it is because He wants your heart ready, your mind ready, your spirit ready. You have survived things that should have broken you, and that survival was not accidental. It was evidence. Evidence that God's hand has been on you, even when you felt alone. Evidence that you were preserved for a reason. Evidence that your story was not meant to end where it hurt. And now God says, the chapter is turning. Do not rush past this message. Sit with it. Let it settle. Let it challenge you. Let it awaken you. Because what is coming will require courage, not comfort. Faith, not familiarity. Trust, not control. And God would not have warned you if He did not intend to bless you. The same God who sustained you in lack is about to show you abundance. The same God who walked with you through confusion is about to flood you with clarity. The same God who held you together when you were falling apart is about to establish you in ways you never imagined. This is not hype. This is not exaggeration. This is alignment. God says, this next phase will challenge the way you see yourself. You have lived too long under a limited image, measuring your life by what you survive instead of what you were designed to steward. Survival taught you resilience, but God says you were never meant to remain in survival mode. You were preserved to build, to establish, to influence, to multiply what He places in your hands. This is why God has been renewing your mind quietly, breaking internal ceilings before opening external doors. If your thinking stayed small, the blessing would feel like a burden. But God has been enlarging your vision so that when the expansion comes, it feels aligned, not intimidating. There is a divine seriousness to this moment. God is not playing with your future, and He is not casual about your calling. He has been watching how you respond when no one is watching, how you speak when things do not go your way, how you treat people who cannot help you. Character. R has been the curriculum. Integrity has been the training ground. Obedience in hidden places has been the qualification. You thought nothing was happening because nothing was visible. But God says visibility is not the measure of progress. Transformation always begins underground. God says what is coming will require you to let go of control. You have learned to manage disappointment by staying guarded, by keeping expectations low, by telling yourself you are fine even when you are tired. But the next move of God will not fit inside self-protection. It will demand trust. It will ask you to believe again, to hope again, to expect again. And that is why God healed you slowly, layer by layer, because sudden elevation with unresolved fear creates instability. God stabilizes before He elevates. Some of you have been wrestling with a sense of urgency that you could not explain. Time felt accelerated. Days felt significant. choices felt heavier. That was not anxiety, that was awareness. God has been sharpening your discernment because the decisions ahead will shape more than just your life. Others will be affected by your obedience. Others will benefit from your courage. Others will find the direction through your example. This is not pressure to perform. This is privilege to participate in what God is unfolding. God says you are stepping into a season where clarity replaces confusion. You will not have to chase confirmation because peace will confirm it. You will not have to force doors because alignment will open them. You will not have to compete because what God has for you, why? Recognize you. The striving will end not because effort disappears, but because resistance does. When God removes resistance, progress becomes natural. There are things God will ask you to walk away from, not because they are sinful, but because they are limiting. Comfort can become a cage when it keeps you from growth. Familiarity can become an obstacle when it replaces obedience. God is Cal. Lean you higher, and higher always costs something. It costs old patterns, it costs old mindsets, it costs old identities that no longer fit who you are becoming. God never subtracts without intending to multiply. This is also a season of divine distinction. God will make it clear that what is happening in your life is not the result of human strategy alone. There will be timing you could not orchestrate, favor you did not earn, protection you did not request. And this is important because God will receive the glory, not your talent, not your connections, not your effort. When God does something big, He makes sure it cannot be explained without Him. God says, prepare your heart for responsibility because increase always brings accountability. What He gives you is not just for enjoyment, it is for impact. You will be trusted with influence, resources, and opportunities that require wisdom. That is why God has been teaching you restraint. That is why He taught you to listen more than speak, to observe more than react. Wisdom is not loud, but it is powerful. And God has been depositing it within you. You may notice that your tolerance for shallow things has decreased. Conversations that once entertained you now drain you. Environments that once felt normal now feel heavy. This is not judgment, this is growth. God is refining your appetite because where you are going requires depth. Surface level living cannot sustain a weighty calling. God is inviting you into substance, into purpose, into intentional living. God says, do not be surprised if some relationships shift dramatic. Alignment will expose incompatibility. Growth will reveal distance. Not everyone who walked with you can walk where you are going. This does not mean they were bad, it means they were seasonal. Honor the season, but do not cling to it. God is creating space for new connections that understand your assignment, support your obedience, and sharpen your focus. There will be moments when fear tries to reintroduce itself, reminding you of past failures, whispering that this will not last, suggesting that you are not qualified. When that happens, remember this truth. God does not bring you this far to abandon you here. He does not initiate what He will not sustain. The same power that opened the door will keep it open. The same wisdom that guided you here will guide you forward. God says, you are entering a phase where your prayers will sound different. You will pray with authority, not desperation. You will pray with confidence, not confusion. You will pray with gratitude, not anxiety. This shift is evidence of maturity. You are no longer begging for permission to live the life God already planned for you. You are aligning yourself with it. This season will also test your ability to remain grounded. Praise will increase, attention may increase, opportunities will multiply. And God says, guard your heart carefully. Stay teachable. Stay humble. Stay dependent on Him. Independence may look like strength, but dependence on God is true power. Never outgrow the posture that brought you here. God says you will see restoration in areas you thought were permanently damaged. Things you accepted as losses will be revisited by grace. This does not mean everything returns the same way. It means God returns value where you expected emptiness. He redeems outcomes, not just moments. He restores purpose, not just possession. What looked wasted will become wisdom. There will be a boldness rising within you, not arrogance, but assurance. You will speak when you once stayed silent. What? Who will move when you once hesitated? You will believe when you once doubted. This confidence is not self-generated, it is God-breathed. It comes from knowing who stands with you. When God is for you, hesitation loses its authority. God says the pace will increase, but so will your capacity. You will handle more without breaking, carry more without collapsing, decide more without confusion. This is growth. This is preparation meeting opportunity. This is God proving that He knew exactly when to release what He promised. Some nights you may reflect and realize how dramatically your inner world has changed. The anxiety that once ruled you no longer has power. The fear that once dictated your choices no longer has a voice. This is not because life became easier. It is because you became STR. Hunger in God. Strength does not always remove challenges. It redefines your response to them. God says this moment is sacred. Treat it with reverence. Do not rush ahead of Him, but do not lag behind either. Walk with Him, listen closely, obey promptly, trust deeply. The next steps may not reveal the entire picture, but clarity will come with movement. Faith has always required motion, as this yuan folds. You will realize that God was not just answering prayers, He was fulfilling purpose. What you receive will align with who you are becoming. The blessing will fit the calling. The opportunity will match the preparation. And you will know without a doubt that this was orchestrated by God alone. Let this truth anchor you. God chose you on purpose for a purpose in this moment. You are not late. You are not early. You are right on time. And as the weight of what God is doing continues to reveal itself, you will stand with humility, move with courage, and live with a deep, unshakable awareness that this is not coincidence. This is calling, unfolding step by step, breath by breath, under the steady and intentional hand of God. God says there is a difference between being invited and being appointed. Many people are invited to moments, but few are appointed to carry them. You are not stepping into something accidental. This is assignment. And assignment always comes with authority. That is why God has been strengthening your inner voice. You no longer move by pressure or opinion. You are learning to move by conviction. Conviction anchors you when applause fades and criticism are. God is teaching you to stand firm even when the ground feels unstable. Because stability does not come from circumstances, it comes from alignment with Him. There will be moments ahead where logic will not explain what God is asking of you. Your mind may hesitate, your emotions may resist, but your spirit will recognize the instruction. God does not always explain, because explanation can reduce dependence. Obedience without full understanding is one of the highest expressions of trust, and trust is the currency that activates divine movement. When God sees trust, He releases guidance. When He sees obedience, He releases provision. When He sees faith, He releases results. God says you are entering a season where your silence will be as powerful as your speech. You will no longer feel the need to defend yourself or explain every decision. You will let outcomes speak. You will let consistency speak. You will let fruit speak. Maturity knows when to speak and when to stay quiet. God is refining your discernment so you respond, not react. Reaction is emotional, response is intentional, and intentional living creates lasting impact. Some of you have been asking God, why the burden? Feels heavier, even though the path feels clearer. God says, clarity increases responsibility. When you see more, you carry more. When you understand more, you steward more. This is not punishment, it is promotion. God trusts you with weight because He knows you can carry it. He does not place heavy assignments on fragile foundations. What He builds through you will stand because He built you first. God says, guard your focus carefully. Distraction is subtle in seasons of growth. It does not always come as temptation. Sometimes it comes as opportunity. Not every open door is yours to walk through. Not every good thing is a God thing for you. Discernment will save you from burnout and misalignment. God is teaching you to value timing over speed. What you delay now can preserve what you carry. Turn. There is also a refining happening in how you see success. God is shifting your definition. Success is no longer about visibility. It is about obedience. It is no longer about accumulation. It is about stewardship. It is no longer about recognition. It is about impact. God is removing the need to impress and replacing it with the desire to serve. When service becomes your motive, God handles the increase. God says, expect moments of divine interruption. Plans may change suddenly. Schedules may shift unexpectedly. What you thought would take years may unfold quickly. Flexibility will be essential. Rigidity resists movement, but surrender invites it. God moves freely where hearts are open. Stay responsive, stay yielded. The ability to pivot without panic is a sign of spiritual maturity. You will notice that your tolerance for compromise is disappearing. What you once allowed, you now confront. What you once ignored, you now address. This is not harshness, this is holiness of intention. God is sharpening your boundaries because boundaries protect purpose. You cannot carry something sacred while entertaining what is casual. God honors clarity of values. There will be moments when D asks you to lead before you feel fully ready. This is intentional. Readiness grows through action. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is obedience in spite of it. God does not wait for perfection, He waits for willingness. When you step forward in faith, He meets you with power. God says the atmosphere around you will begin to change. Where there was tension, there will be peace. Where was confusion, there will be direction. Where there was resistance, there will be cooperation. This is not manipulation, this is alignment. When God positions you correctly, even opposition must adjust. Favor does not mean absence of challenge. It means presence of God in the challenge. Some of you will experience moments of reflection where gratitude overwhelms you. You will remember where you came from, what you survived, what almost destroyed you. And instead of pain, you will feel purpose. Instead of regret, you will feel redemption. God does not erase your past, He transforms it into testimony. Your story becomes a bridge for others. God says, remain anchored in humility. Humility keeps you teachable, It keeps you dependent. It keeps you grounded. Pride isolates, but humility attracts. Grace. The more God entrusts to you, the more you must stay connected to Him. Never replace prayer with productivity. Never replace dependence with confidence. Your strength flows from your connection to God. There will be days when the responsibility feels lonely. Leadership often is. Carrying vision can feel isolating. But God says you are never alone. He walks with you. He instructs you. He strengthens you. Learn to find companionship in His presence. Solitude with God is not emptiness, it is renewal. God says the legacy you are building is greater than what you can currently see. What you establish now will outlive this season. Seeds you plant today will bear fruit in times you may never witness. This is the weight of obedience. It extends beyond you. God is thinking generations where you are thinking moments. Your sensitivity to God's voice will continue to increase. You will recognize subtle prompts. You will sense gentle warnings. You will feel peace or restraint before major decisions. Honor that sensitivity. Do not override it with logic or pressure. God's guidance is precise. When you follow it, you save yourself unnecessary struggle. God says prepare for moments of joy that feel almost unbelievable. Laughter will return. Hope will feel natural again. You will realize how much heaviness you carried without realizing it. Freedom often reveals itself slowly, then suddenly. And when it does, you will recognize it as God's kindness. As this continues, you will understand that the warning was not about fear, it was about readiness. God warned you because He valued you. He prepared you because He trusts you. He speaks to you because He intends to move through you. What is unfolding is not random. It is deliberate. It is measured. It is guided. God says there will be moments ahead when you will feel the weight of expectation pressing against your chest, not from people, but from purpose. Purpose carries its own gravity. It pulls you forward even when comfort. RT begs you to stay where you are. This is why complacency will no longer satisfy you. Ease without meaning will feel empty. God is awakening a holy dissatisfaction, not to frustrate you, but to mobilize you. You were not designed to drift, you were designed to advance with intention. You will begin to recognize how carefully God has been training your patience. Patience is not passive waiting. T is active trust. It is the ability to remain steady while things are still forming. God delays some outcomes because timing protects destiny. What arrives too early can be mishandled. What is rushed can be wasted. God has been protecting you from premature exposure, from being seen before you were rooted, from being elevated before you were reinforced. Now the reinforcement is evident in your DI. Discernment, in your restraint, in your quiet confidence. God says there will be a sharpening of your priorities. Time will feel more valuable. Energy will feel more sacred. You will stop giving access to things that drain you without producing fruit. This is not selfishness, this is stewardship. You cannot give your best to everything, but you must give your best to what God assigns. Focus is not restriction, it is power directed. When your focus aligns with God's intention, momentum increases without strain. Some of you will notice that your prayers are becoming more specific. You are no longer asking vaguely, you are aligning precisely. This is maturity. God responds to clarity because clarity reveals readiness. You know what you are asking for because God has shown you what to expect. Faith grows when vision sharpens, and vision sharpens when intimacy with God deepens. God says there will be seasons when your obedience is tested not by hardship, but by success. Success reveals motives. It exposes whether your heart remains anchored or becomes distracted. That is why God taught you contentment before increase. Contentment guards you from arrogance. Gratitude keeps your heart so. For never forget the posture you had when you needed God desperately. Carry that posture when God blesses you abundantly. You will also encounter moments when God asks you to speak truth gently but firmly. Silence in those moments would be comfortable, but obedience requires courage. God has given you a voice not to dominate, but to guide, not to impress, but to illuminate. Your words will carry authority because they are rooted in integrity. Speak with wisdom, speak with humility, speak when God prompts, and trust in with the outcome. God says, do not fear the moments when you feel stretched beyond what feels familiar. Stretching is evidence of growth. Muscles do not grow in comfort, they grow in resistance. God stretches you because He is expanding you. The tension you feel is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that capacity is increasing. What once exhausted you will soon feel manageable. What once intimidated you will soon feel navigable. There will be times when God allows you to face opposition, not to stop you, but to reveal what is within you. Opposition sharpens conviction. Resistance refines resolve. You will discover strength you did not know you possessed, not because you became stronger alone, but because God fortified you. Every challenge will expose the depth of the foundation God has been building. God says, watch how He will restore your sense of joy. Not shallow happiness tied to circumstances, but deep joy rooted in purpose. Joy will become your strength again. It will carry you through long days and complex decisions. Joy will remind you why obedience matters. It will renew your energy and protect your heart from bitterness. You will begin to see how God connects seemingly unrelated moments from your past to your present calling. Skills you developed unintentionally will now have purpose. Experiences you thought were detours will now provide insight. Nothing was wasted. God has been weaving a narrative more intricate than you realize. And as the picture becomes clearer, confidence will replace hesitation. God says, remain vigilant about your inner life. Guard your thoughts, guard your intentions, guard your affections. External success without internal alignment leads to collapse. God strengthens the inner man so the outer structure can stand. Continue to return to Him in quiet moments. Continue to listen. Continue to submit your plans. Alignment is maintained through continual surrender. There will be moments when gratitude becomes overwhelming, when you pause and realize how far you have come. Let those moments anchor you. They will remind you that progress is real even when perfection is absent. Celebrate growth. Honor consistency. God rejoices in your perseverance. God says you will recognize His guidance not only through doors opening, but through doors closing peacefully. That no longer fits will fall away without force. What is not aligned will lose its appeal. This is grace. It spares you from confusion. It keeps you from regret. Trust the ease of release as much as you trust the excitement of arrival. As you move forward, humility will remain your protection and faith your compass. You will not need to prove anything. You will not need to rush validation. God's affirmation will be enough. When He approves, insecurity loses its grip. When He leads, fear loses its authority. This unfolding season will reveal the faithfulness of God in layers, not all at once, but steadily, intentionally, unmistakably. You will walk with a deeper awareness that every step is guided, every decision observed, every act of obedience honored. And as you continue to move in alignment, the magnitude of what God is doing will no longer shock you. It will steady you, ground you, and remind you that the warning was not to alarm you, but to prepare you for a life marked by purpose, clarity, and the unmistakable presence of God shaping every step forward.